say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time. Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time. Shake that body, say the motherfucker drill. Get crunk with it, get loose with it. Like Shaw said, let Bruce hit it. Get crunk with it, get loose with it. Like Shaw said, let Bruce hit it. Now, shake that real fast and drive. 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 Shake it like a soul shaker. 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 Shake it like a soul shaker.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Legacy Sports Car Series sponsored by Ledford Construction. We're about to get this party underway as our competitors take to Watkins Glen. As always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East in the booth, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as our competitors make their way out for single car qualifying. Everybody trying to put down the best laps they possibly can. And let's see who's going to be the fastest. As you watch Nick Terrell, number 81 machine, do his best in the Honda LMP2. We've got a whole lot of LMP2 drivers making it out here today. Daniel Beauchamp, Alex Penn, Nick Terrell, Jack Werrell, and Kai Demarest all making it out on track here today. As Beauchamp currently on top of qualifying. And it quickly finds himself careening out of control. Let's cycle back to that lovely face. That's Carlos Acosta, the number 104 driver, making his first debut here for the Legacy Sports Car Series. Carlos is the president of 3Y TV. So normally we're used to seeing him up in the booth, but this is one of the first times we've ever seen him out on track, as he is in the GT2 class tonight for his season debut. So always great seeing Carlos out on track, a top-tier professional in every sense of the word. So Carlos, welcome to the shenanigans and the foray here today for the Legacy Sports Car Series. As always as well, I'd like to thank all of our fans, friends, and family that tune in and are supporting their favorite broadcaster, their favorite racers, and their favorite series. As we're going to try and get the qualifying to pull up correctly. I'm not sure why it's not quite pulling up correctly in the top left, showing your overall score. I had to reload the old overlay there for our fans at home. As we see Carlos absolutely Bennett here at Watkins Glen, returning back to pit lane. Not quite sure why everything's not popping up in the top left like we're used to it. For these drivers, they have a 15-minute qualifying session followed by the 45-minute main event. This is one of those series that really forces drivers to focus on their marks throughout a longer format race. Because if you find yourself bidding your race car early on, you can be in big, big trouble for the remainder of the race. So it's going to be interesting to see. Normally, this is a one-stop race for most of our competitors. As I'm very excited to see what happens for our LMP2 drivers here today. That seems to be the class to watch, as we have, I believe, 5 LMP2 drivers out on track, 4 GT1 drivers, and 2 GT2 drivers here today. And I'm trying to see, I believe only I take it back, 2 Daytona Prototype drivers. It's going to be Johnny Eckert and Connor Brown, both in the Daytona Prototypes. So expecting a whole lot of action from all of our competitors here today. Always a great time when you have so many drivers coming out trying to make something happen. It can make things a lot more interesting to see everybody really shaking it up, trying to really battle with some guys that may be new faces, guys that are not used to battling so far this season. There we go. I believe we got everything pulled up here. So that's going to give you a good look at the top left of your screen of how qualifying is going when it wants to act nicely. The broadcasting software has been kind of getting everybody fits the last week or so. Not sure if there's maybe an update pending or what may be happening. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, this is round 11 out of 12 for the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. And something has really broken here, but we're going to make do with what we've got. I believe we have finally fixed it here, thankfully. As Beauchamp, the number 451 machine, currently on top of qualifying in the number 451. He's the current fastest LMP2 driver out on track, as well as the fastest overall driver. Alex Penn, second in class. Nick Terrell, third in class. And Kai Demarest, fourth in class and fourth overall. So the LMP2 drivers coming out in force here today for one of the biggest rounds of LMP2 drivers we've had all season long. Only a couple of short minutes left in qualifying. with a healthy strength of field of 1.7K, so a lot of talented drivers coming out here today. Daniel Beauchamp in the 451, our highest iRating driver out on track with about 4,000 iRating, so always great to see him come out and maybe throw a wrench in some of the plans of the other drivers. And it's a beautiful day here at Watkins Glen. Cool temps, fair amount of wind, and just a little bit of humidity today should make it for an interesting race with about 38 degrees Celsius track temp for our drivers to figure out. And that will change as the race progresses on tonight. A lot of talented drivers out there clicking off qualifying laps right now. We've got 11 entries into the race here today, with one driver appearing not to have started yet. That's Jack Werrell, the number 65 machine, who has not turned any laps yet. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes out and puts down any type of times here today. As Terrell is going to bring it over and end his qualifying run. It looks like it's going to be Beauchamp, Penn, Terrell, Demarest running first through fourth. All the Honda LMP2 drivers putting down some fast lap times. The one unknown is Jack Werrell, the number 65 machine, who has not put down a time here today. As we're going to get ready to close up qualifying for all of our drivers. So it looks like that is going to do it here for qualifying for round 11 out of 12 for the Legacy Sports Car Series. We've got 11 entries, 10 of which put down times. But we're going to have a spectacular race here today as everybody gets gridded up and ready to go out there. We just heard from one of the drivers, Kai Demarest. He just got his wheel back from his flying it into college, where he's currently racing in a rocking chair. His wheel is held onto the desk via duct tape, and he is going to put the stamp on it and absolutely send it here at Watkins Glen. So keep an eye on Demarest. He's the number 42 machine. He may not make it, but no matter what, he is definitely going to make it interesting. And that's what we love to see week in and week out here for the Legacy Sports Car Series. A lot of unknowns here. So waiting for the qualifying session to end, and we're going to get this party started. As that is a long cooldown timer between qualifying and the race. But here we go. The drivers are getting gridded up, and let's take a look at tonight's grid. Starting on pole, Daniel Beauchamp and the number 451 Honda LMP2 will be leading this charge, followed by Alex Penn, the road racing phenomenon. Nick Terrell starting third in the number 81 machine. Kai Demarest in the 42 starting fourth. Jack Werrell, the number 65, starting fifth. Again, Jack did not put down a qualifying time, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Jumping Johnny Eckert starting sixth on the track, leading the Daytona prototypes, chased by Connor Brown and the number 45 machine starting seventh. Jason Connolly, number 66, starting 8th. DJ Weeks Jr. starting 9th. Gareth Mcallister starting 10th. And newcomer Carlos Acosta starting 11th here today to round out our field of drivers, as it looks like everybody's making it out on track. And we are getting ready to go racing, ladies and gentlemen, here for round 11 of the Legacy Sports Car Series. We've only got one more race left to decide the championship, as newcomers such as Beauchamp and Acosta have the opportunity to maybe shake things up here today. Still waiting for drivers to get out on track. We're waiting on Jack Worrell, number 65, Honda LMP2 driver, as well as Jumpin' Johnny Eckert and the number 90 for the Daytona prototype to make his way out on track. We're going to try and get that live timing tower updated on the left-hand side of your screen here today. There we go. That might have fixed it. So it looks like Jack Worrell is going to be a DNS, unable to make it onto the grid here today. And we're going to take our opening laps here at Watkins Glen behind our iRacing Porsche, the pace car. A long warm-up lap for our competitors to get everything pointed in the right direction before we get ready to light up the lights here at Watkins Glen and send them going around for 45 minutes of non-stop action. It's Alex Penn out front for the Honda LMP2 drivers. He'll be setting the pace, but he's got Daniel Beauchamp right next to him. I believe Beauchamp actually on pole, so it'll be curious to see what happens here in the opening laps, as some of these guys have not really driven next to each other much so far this season. That is quite a lengthy pace lap for all of our competitors to get used to each other. Sight the track for the final time here at Watkins Glen, the full course. It's one of those tracks, if you do find yourself in an incident, not a lot of runoff to be had. Again, 45 minutes for these competitors to do battle out here at Watkins Glen, as the pace car will be coming in at this next right-hander. And then we are about to see some fireworks. How long before the inevitable LMP2 driver sends it spinning around? It's kind of a mainstay here at the Legacy Sports Car Series, but the pace car will dive in. The green flag gets ready to drop. And away they go. Beauchamp does not get the launch that he wants. That's going to allow Kai Demarest to sneak up into second place. Daniel Beauchamp currently shuffles back to third as Alex Penn leads the field down through turn one here at Watkins Glen. And he gets a commanding lead. Meanwhile, Daniel Beauchamp chasing his teammates. Kai Demarest are going to go side by side, leading up to the bus stop. Beauchamp has the inside line. Will he be able to make it stick? Or will Demarest answer? Beauchamp able to cut through nice and clean. As we have got quite the show. Don't forget about Nick Terrell as well, the number 81 driver. He's right in the mix here in the Taco Bell sponsored LMP2 machine, trying to chase down Kai Demarest to put himself in possible podium contention for class and the overall. Nick Terrell trying to put the pressure on to Demarest to see if he can squeeze by. Demarest goes wide into the grass, able to hold on to it. But will Terrell be able to capitalize here into the final two corners of the racetrack? It looks like he has the run. And yes, he will take over third overall and third in class. Right now, Daniel Beauchamp, the number 451, trying to chase down Alex Penn, your current race leader. Beauchamp finds himself about 1.3 seconds back from Alex Penn. As Beauchamp able to capitalize after Penn has a bit of a moment. That is going to allow Beauchamp to take over the race lead and quickly extend some time over Alex Penn. Meanwhile, Nick Terrell trying to catch up to Penn as well. He's about 1.8 seconds back from your race leader. Jason Connolly currently leading the GT1 class. Mcallister leading the GT2 class. We're going to take a look at Carlos Acosta. He is currently second in class for the GT2 drivers, trying to catch up to Gareth Mcallister. He's less than a second back from the class leader. The Australian out front doing his best to hold on to it. And they've also got Connor Brown in the Daytona Prototype class they're going to have to contend with as well. So far, a fairly clean race. We've seen a couple of bobbles, but no big incidents. And Acosta doing his best to catch up to Mcallister. He's still about 1 second back from the class leader, but the two GT2 drivers put on a show, running very close to each other here. Up front, Daniel Beauchamp clicked off the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 36.36, putting his head down and absolutely hot lapping around here at Watkins Glen. Beauchamp, normally a world-famous Radical racer, frequently races the Apex Racing TV's Radical Series. It's good to see Beauchamp getting outside of his comfort zone, racing the LMP2s here for the Legacy Sports Car Series, and just getting as much seat time as he possibly can. A very well-spoken driver on and off the track, and usually well-liked from everybody. It's always great seeing him making it out here when he is able. Nick Terrell appears to be catching up to Alex Penn, the second in class and second overall driver. And we still may see a battle shake up after all. We've seen it plenty before. Oh no! Demarest! He bends it. The number 42 machine, the rocking chair madman, has a big incident in his Honda LMP2. We're going to take a quick look at that one and see what just happened. Let's see what happens in Demarest number 42 machine. Gets a little bit too far on the outside grass and just boops the inside wall here at Watkins Glen. Hopefully doesn't have too much damage on his race car. Nick Terrell currently third overall and third in class, doing his best to catch up to Alex Penn. He's about 1.5 seconds back from the Skip Barber sponsor number 30 machine. Daniel Beauchamp out front extending his lead. It's down to clicked off a 1 minute 35.88 his last time by, just about a second faster than everybody else on track right now in the Honda LMP2. As you're on board with Nick Terrell, he's still watching Alex Penn just in front of him. That's about what 1.8 seconds looks like here at Watkins Glen. That's Terrell in the bright pink number 81 machine, trying to do everything in his power to catch up to number 30 of Alex Penn. And just like that, Alex Penn sends it around. Nick Terrell has to avoid him. But a huge incident from the number 30 driver who's parked it at Watkins Glen. He has got all sorts of damage. He just got that race car repaired earlier this season, and he has absolutely wadded it up. He is his one-man roadblock on track right now, trying to get it pointed in the right direction, but Alex Penn is most likely going to have to retire here to limp it into pit road, as that LMP2 is all sorts of worse for wear. We're going to take a quick look at that one in our Ledford Construction-backed replay, our slow-motion replay. But my, oh my, what a tragic hit for Alex Penn. All right, we're watching Penn in the Honda LMP2. He's going to come around the left-hander here at Watkins Glen. And I think he's just going to get a wheel on that outside grass, just enough to send him slipping and sliding around. And look at that. That's a lot of damage as he bounces off all the walls here at the Glen. And Terrell checks up, able to cut through, but man, oh man, what a hit for Alex Penn. Daniel Beauchamp running out front and uncontested. He's got a 4-second gap over Nick Terrell, who is in second in class, with Kai Demarest third in class for the Honda LMP2 drivers. We've got Jumpin' Johnny Eckert. He's leading the Daytona prototypes in the number 90 machine. And then we've got Gareth Mcallister, who is leading the GT2 class. But look at this. The action's all but over, as Acosta is following nice in tow. Acosta, the number 104 for GT2 car. Running less than a second behind Mcallister, the race leader. So a nice tight race here among the GT2 drivers. All these guys doing an absolutely fantastic job, not having too many woes or issues out on track, and really doing a great job keeping it clean. We've seen a couple of single car incidents, but for the most part, everybody's been very well behaved and really not having that many issues out there today. So always great to see the guys charging hard and keeping it nice and clean. As each two GT2 drivers putting on a fantastic show amongst each other. Still running nose and tail. Very impressed at how close these two competitors are able to run without finding themselves involved with any incidents. As what a great showing. Out front in the overall, still Daniel Beauchamp leading the event. Nick Terrell staying within 5 seconds at all times, as you see Terrell take the bus stop shortly after Beauchamp has come out of it. But a great bit of racing from all of our competitors. Now we're only 10 minutes in, we'll call it 11 minutes in out of a 45-minute race. As always as well, I'd like to thank Joe Penn, who is our acting race control tonight, and league owner. Tune in and make sure the action stays fair and square. And we did get an update from Penn with race control that the number 30 did have to forego the position back to the 451 machine for a jump start there at the beginning. So race control keeping it nice and square, or nice and fair and square, I should say, over our competitors here today. That's what this makes this place really a step up from some other series you can join. It's good, clean, affordable racing. Some of these cars you can get into for as cheap as $3 if it's not already content you own on the iRacing servers. Dana Beauchamp, your race leader, clicks off a new fast lap of the race with a 1 minute 35.64. He's about 0.4 of a second faster on track than anybody else here today. We're going to cycle back further in the field as we've got Johnny Eckert, the number 90 machine, current class leader for the Daytona Prototypes, just chugging along. He's about 27 seconds ahead of the second place in class driver, Connor Brown. And what I'm still amazed at, Carlos Acosta, who we joined just in time to see him of an off-track moment as Daniel Beauchamp, the overall race leader, comes around. He was still 1 second behind Mcallister before we had that incident. So a newcomer to road racing in general, as well as the Legacy Sports Car Series, coming out and doing a great job. As he will now have to work up. He's got found himself about 2.1 seconds back from Mcallister. It's going to be interesting to see if Acosta can carry the pace by himself without that rabbit to chase, as he's about to get overtaken by Nick Terrell as well, the second overall driver, as well as the second in class car for the LMP2s. Looks like Terrell's going to get through nice and clean, no worries there. As Acosta is trying to work his way back up to the back of Mcallister, who's doing a great job in the GT2 here today. Running strong and out front. He's still about just right around 2 seconds ahead of Acosta, as Acosta was able to find about 2 or 3 tenths of a second there. And look at this, Alex Penn has been working through the traffic as well. Back up into fourth overall with an absolutely massive crash in his number 30 machine. He did have to come into pit lane. I believe these drivers have one fast repair here for the Legacy Sports Car Series, so able to get back out there and clicks off the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 35.36 his last time by. So Penn driving like a man possessed and able to cut through traffic and get back to fourth overall. But unfortunately, he finds himself 17 seconds back from a possible podium finish, as Demrest, in number 42, who's had his own share of bad luck, is running strong in third. But it's still Daniel Beauchamp out front, Nick Terrell in second place overall and in class. And Beauchamp currently has about a 7-second advantage over Terrell here today at Watkins Glen. But again, we can't stress this enough. We've seen it time and again. It just takes one lapse of judgment or one simple mistake, and you can find yourself with a totally wadded up race car. As Beauchamp will take another lap by. Let's see what his lap time is this time by, because Alex Penn getting faster and faster out there today, as Daniel Beauchamp answers with a 1 minute 34.95. So getting faster and faster as the run progresses. 11 laps in. I expect to see Beauchamp pit around the lap 15 to 16 mark for tires and fuel. Now Beauchamp, he might be one of those drivers that double stints his tires as well. It'll be interesting to see what he decides to do in pit lane if and when he finally comes in. Curious to see if he thinks maybe taking tires is worth it for the later part of the run, as he's only extending his lead on the rest of the field right now. Daniel Beauchamp just keeps getting faster and faster. We're going to check on Kai Demarest, the rocking chair phenom. He's about 16 seconds ahead of Alex Penn, but he has not used any repairs here today, opting to stay out, so that may allow Penn to catch up and possibly battle for podium contention. And look at this, Terrell clicks off his fastest lap of the race with a 1:35.92. Right as Beauchamp clicks off the fastest overall of the race, a 1:34.8. And oh, Demarest has a little bit of a hiccup there. But able to get it back under control. Alex Penn seems like he's getting a little bit closer, still about 15 seconds back from Demarest, who is third overall and third in class. Jason Connolly, haven't talked about Connolly much today, winner of the GT1 class, or excuse me, the leader of the GT1 class. He's been running great all season long. A little bit of a later entry, but out there doing a great job. He is currently still behind DJ Weeks Jr. in points, but he's only got 3 starts compared to DJ's 8 starts. But uh-oh, we might have problems for Acosta, the driver of the 104 machine, who is showing having a bit of an incident. Let's take a look here. And let's see what happens to Acosta as he's getting flashed by one of the LMP2 drivers. And oh no, Acosta just goes too wide off the racetrack and then yeets himself around through the bus stop. Now the good news is he did keep the car off of the wall, so he's not heavily damaged. He can go back out there and continue to race, but hate to see it for Acosta. So Acosta back pointing in the right direction. He's still charging hard. He's 15 seconds back from class leader Gareth Mcallister. But again, it's anybody's race still because we've seen so many random crashes throughout the series. Now Nick Terrell currently second overall. He is still the overall leader for the LMP2 points. So I'm not sure how things may get shaken up here today, as Alex Penn is still fourth. Alex Penn is currently second in points and fourth on track. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch up to Terrell and try and make something happen, or if we may see something else transpire as your race leader Daniel Beauchamp brings it into pit lane. And now Nick Terrell will take over the race lead, opting to stay out in one more lap. Now this is going to be interesting. Let's keep an eye out to see if Beauchamp takes 4 tires or is a fuel-only stop and decides to double stint it. We're going to see here now. as I'm not sure what Beauchamp is doing. It looks like it was a fuel-only stop. It's hard to tell there. So now Nick Terrell will take over the race lead in the Taco Bell sponsor number 81 machine. But again, he still has to pit here today. Now Terrell is going to have more lap traffic to play with here, as Alex Penn goes into pit lane for his first scheduled stop. Terrell is about to cut through jumping Johnny Eckert, and I believe that's going to be DJ Weeks just ahead as well. Terrell able to get around Eckert nice and clean, no worries. Now he's going to try and get through DJ Weeks Jr. All of these guys are very competitive and very good drivers. It looks like Terrell's going to get through nice and easy, having no problem getting through both the GT1 driver as well as the Daytona prototype driver. Kyler Mess, number 42 machine, third overall and third in class for the Honda LMP2s. He's going to come in to initiate his pit cycle as well. And let's see, how long is Terrell going to stay out here today? Because I believe Beauchamp is double stinting his tires and only taking fuel here. I believe that may have been Acosta that Terrell just came by. It may have been, it's hard to tell. I'm assuming, no, that's Mcallister he just got around. Terrell stays out once more. Now he's got about a 26-second advantage over Daniel Beauchamp, second place driver. Beauchamp has already pitted here today though. And that total pit lane time from the time you cross the first set of cones to the time you leave the second set of cones is about 45 seconds. So in theory, if Terrell takes the same pit stop as Beauchamp, he should come out about 20 seconds behind the Englishman, the fast guy in the 451. So it's going to be interesting to see what develops here. We're going to cycle further back in the field, check on Daniel Beauchamp. He's about 25 seconds behind your race leader, Nick Terrell. Again, he is boxed on lap 13, while Terrell has not come in yet at all. And now I believe Jason Connolly is about to get overtaken by Daniel Beauchamp as well. Excuse me. We've got about 20 minutes left in tonight's race. And so far things have been nice and clean for all the competitors. We've seen a lot of great racing, some very smooth overtakes. And look at that, Nick Terrell is going to come into pit lane on lap 16, 3 laps later than Daniel Beauchamp did. Now this is where it's going to get interesting. How far ahead is Beauchamp going to be ahead of Terrell after Terrell completes his pit stop? Beauchamp was in his stall for 14.7 seconds. We'll keep an eye on Terrell's and see how long he's in there for. Terrell in and out of his box in 13.77 seconds with an overall pit lane time of a 45.23 compared to Beauchamp's 45.9. So both drivers very, very close on pit lane, and that's going to put Terrell out about 7.9 seconds behind your race leader, Beauchamp. So now is Terrell going to be able to come out with a fresh race car and hot lap and try and reel in the Englishman as Kai Demarest shows involved in another incident, the number 42 machine. We'll take a quick look at that one on the incident replay and see where things went wrong for the number 42, currently racing in a rocking chair here today. So far, so good. Not seeing any big incidents here. I wonder if it's the same place Alex Penn crashed a little bit earlier. Exactly. He sends it spinning around as Alex Penn was able to look at his friend in the number 42 and go, yep, I've made that mistake before. So that will allow Penn to take over third overall and third in class while Demarest gets shuffled back to fourth in class. Now knows he's in a comfortable position to keep chugging along and not having to pressure too hard here to try and make something happen. Meanwhile, Nick Terrell, he knows he's in the position where he has the hot lap. He has used up the tires to try and catch up to Beauchamp up front. It is now a 9-second advantage as Terrell is having to cut through traffic here at Watkins Glen. With a little bit of luck and a little bit of a lottery to decide who can get through the quickest as the slower class cars doing their best to yield position to the LMP2 driver. As we are to the halfway mark, we're going to take a lap on board with newcomer Carlos Acosta in the 104 GT2 car, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lap with Carlos Acosta, the 104 Ford GT2 driver, his season debut and really one of his first road racing debuts as far as league racing goes. So well done for him, taking the plunge, coming out here to the Legacy Sports Car Series and having a great time. Nick Terrell in the number 81 machine, currently second overall, second in class. He's about 11 seconds back from Daniel Beauchamp, trying to just put down some laps here. His last time by was a 1 minute 36.62 compared to Beauchamp's 1 minute 35.17. So not able to find the pace he really wants here late in the run, but he does have a 54-second advantage over third place overall and in class Alex Penn. As we've seen a few LMP2 drivers have all sorts of a rough night out here today. All these guys doing a good job. It's been great seeing really just kind of the entire series develop as we went on tonight. The grids kept getting better and better. The action kept getting better and better. And I dare say even the drivers getting better and better here today. So very cool to see what's been going on with the guys, and everybody getting just progressively better and putting on a better show all season long. So you got to hand it to the guys. Up front, Daniel Beauchamp making it look easy. He's still got about a 12-second advantage over Nick Terrell. And about 11 minutes of racing action left in tonight's main event. Beauchamp and the LMP2 drivers, or all the LMP2 drivers, such a high horsepower, high downforce car. The faster and more aggressively you drive these machines, the happier they are. As if you do not have the downforce in the car, they can get mighty slidey, mighty quickly. That's a professional term for it, ladies and gentlemen. It's slidey is the word of the day. And Beauchamp making it look easy. He's going to once again come up on more lap traffic, possibly going into the bus stop. I believe that is going to be his teammate Demarest, who's about to go a lap down, excuse me. Now here's the question, does Beauchamp give his teammate the flashing high beams, or are they going to communicate among a team channel or through a crew chief to let each other know a faster driver is coming through here? Lap traffic is where things get mighty exciting for your race leaders or class leaders, as they have to really trust the guys they're cutting through traffic with not to make any mistakes and possibly ruin their night. As Beauchamp rapidly approaching Demarest's number 42 machine. Demarest did everything in his power to try and make it to the race here tonight. He just got back to college, I believe, and had to make do with what he had. As we see Connor Brown, the other Daytona prototype driver, looks like he's returning to pit lane after an incident. Maybe having some sort of problems in the number 45 Daytona prototype and taking a tow back through iRacing. Beauchamp was able to get through lap traffic nice and easy, no problems there, and still extending his lead over Nick Terrell. Jason Connolly still leading the GT1 drivers here today above DJ Weeks Jr. Now again, Connolly, he's second in points after only making, this is his fourth start compared to DJ Weeks, who this is his ninth start of the season. Actually, no, I take that back. DJ Weeks, who is second. No, I looked at the wrong thing there. My apologies. That was the GT1 class. I got a little confused for a second. As Connolly doing a great job clicking off laps. Gareth Mcallister still cruising for the GT2 drivers. He is the new points leader for that class after last week with 2 starts and 2 wins. He's been doing a great job. He just edged out Mark Proctor, who was our previous points leader for the GT2 drivers. So Mcallister coming in late in the season, but still able to make something happen and possibly put himself into a winning position. Especially making it 3 for 3 for the GT2 driver. As now he's catching up to, I believe that's going to be Johnny Eckert in the number 90 machine. As I believe Connor Brown, the other GT2 driver, has quit for the evening. No, excuse me, the Daytona prototype driver of Brown, I believe, has returned to the hauler for the day. He will be done. No, he's returned back out on track after an incident. We thought Brown may have had an issue, but he is back out on track trying to salvage some more points out of today's race. So well done to Brown, the Aussie, for getting back out front. I think we've got 2 Australians racing today. Gareth Mcallister, Connor Brown, both representing their continents well. As well as Daniel Beauchamp, the lone Englishman, out on track here today. We've got about 6 minutes left in tonight's main event, and things are going very well for Beauchamp and the number 451 machine, not having any issues and just kind of clicking it off, making it look easy. We're going to cycle back and check out on Alex Penn, the road race phenomenon. We saw him with a big incident early on, able to get the car repaired and back out on track. As he had completely blocked the straightaway for a while, we saw Terrell with a huge checkup to avoid getting into the spun out number 30, who left race parts scattered across the track. Luckily, the track crew was able to get him off in time and avoid having to bring out a full course caution. So good to see Penn back out there running strong, and the number 30 machine trying to salvage some points as well for his Honda LMP2. Penn second in points, but right now he's behind Nick Terrell, so not going to allow him to gain many more points here, if any. So while Daniel Beauchamp is leading the race, this is only the second race Beauchamp has made it out to in the 451 machine, and every time he joins, he seems to have won. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to really throw too much of a wrench into the plans of the championship, as it is still between Terrell and Penn. And I believe Terrell, just with more starts as well, should mathematically be able to have it going into next week for the final round. As next week we do go to Homestead Road Course for the season finale, where it'll all be decided, if it's not all but locked up for several of these drivers already. So that should be another great race to watch. As we've got about 3 minutes left in tonight's race. And it looks like pretty much all the classes are pretty spread out here. Everybody having about a 20 to 30 second lead over everybody else in their class. Daniel Beauchamp, he's got about a 17 second lead over Nick Terrell, second in class, second overall. Jason Connolly, he's got about 20 seconds above DJ Weeks Jr., the two drivers running together in GT1. Johnny Eckert, he's got several minutes over his competition, but look at this. I believe Acosta may have crashed once more. No, it was Alex Penn going off track. Alex Penn looks like he has bent it going through the bus stop. Yes, goes careening through the bus stop. That is not the fast way through, but most importantly, keeps that LMP2 off the wall. And gets it pointed back in the right direction. Who was that we just saw bend at the backstretch? And that, I believe, was DJ Weeks Jr. We're going to take a look at that one. But that is such a dangerous place to find yourself with a wrecked race car. As we've seen several drivers spin in that exact same spot. Alex Penn, Kai Demarest. That was identical to what Alex Penn did. So watch this. Here comes Johnny Eckert. He's going to be able to cut through as well, I believe, as two LMP2 drivers. As DJ Weeks kind of gets out of the way as quickly as he can. Oh, that is exciting. That is where things can go very, very poorly, very, very quickly. But well done, having the know-how, knowing when not to get in the mix. Nick Terrell still second overall, second in class. But most importantly, Terrell is still your overall points leader as well. So while Beauchamp is out here today to ruin some hopes and dreams of some kids who want to come out and try and dominate the series, it is still very much Terrell's championship to win or lose here. As the checkered will fly for Nick Terrell. But it is all about Daniel Beauchamp, your overall race leader, who is able to bring it home here at the very end. As we're going to try and get these drivers up into the waiting room for their podium interviews as soon as they get given the opportunity. Overall, a race that went by pretty quickly for all of our competitors, not having any big issues. Everybody did a great job out there. Overall, some really clean racing. We're going to try and get all of our drivers up here into the waiting room to talk about what a fantastic job they did here today. As up first, we've got Daniel Beauchamp bringing it home and a dominant performance. Daniel, you haven't been racing a lot in the Legacy Sports Car Series, but you decided to come out tonight. Was it due to the track choice, or what made you want to come race with the rest of the hooligans?
Kai told me to. He pulled out his whip and he ordered me to.
Well, Demarest, not even a team captain, but wishes he was oh so dearly. I mean, are you still happy with your performance tonight? I know you're expecting a little bit more people to race, but overall, it looks like it's a lot cleaner than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, it was. I was happy with my performance, especially considering I only did 30 minutes practice or so. So yeah, I was happy.
Well, 30 minutes seems like it'd be enough. Are we going to see the world famous Danny Beauchamp come out to the season finale next week is the question all of our fans want to know.
Maybe.
We will take a maybe. Danny, before I let you sign off, who'd like to give shout out to or thanks before I let you go celebrate with the rest of your team?
Team Goon Squad, best team in the world.
Awesome. You heard it there from the man with a plan, Daniel Beauchamp. Great run tonight and hope to see you again in the future, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. See you.
Up next, we got Gareth Mcallister. Mcallister winning it for the GT2 class. Gareth, I know it looked pretty tight between you and Carlos for a while before he had an incident. How were you able to keep it so consistent out there today?
Good question. Nah, I felt really good. I did a bit of practice beforehand. Carlos gave me a real run, and I was really impressed and very happy to have some very stiff competition. I felt like it elevated my game. So, yeah, thanks to him for lifting me.
Well, you guys did a great job. It's a shame to see Carlos absolutely bend it and wasn't able to run with you more. But how'd you feel going in tonight? Is Watkins Glen a track you're comfortable at, or what were you feeling going into the evening?
Yeah, I grew up watching NASCAR race at Watkins Glen, so I'm very familiar with it. I absolutely love it, and it's very, very beautifully flowing circuit. So, yeah, I had a blast.
Well, Gareth, always a pleasure talking to my friend. Always a great run out there in the GT2 class. Before I let you sign off, who would you like to give thanks to that may be supporting you behind the scenes?
I'd actually like to thank this week. I'd like to thank all the other racers. You know, they're all fantastic guys, and you know, if you need help, they'll help you and give you some pointers and some tips. So, yeah, cheers to them and fantastic. Yeah, everyone join the league if they can because this one's good. A good one.
Well, awesome, Gareth. Always a pleasure talking to you, man. Congratulations on your success. We know you're leading the GT2 points. Say that 28 times fast in 45 minutes. But hope to see you do well at the season finale next week, my friend.
Thank you. See you then.
Up next, we've got Jumpin' Johnny Eckert and the number 90 machine, the Daytona prototype racer, and I believe you probably locked up the championship at this point, Johnny. But how did tonight go from your point of view?
Oh, it was fantastic. I'm thrilled because this I love this track and I really wanted to win. The last couple weeks have been rough and getting a strategy wrong or missing it and just being close to specifically last week Silverstone coming close but just not having enough to get the dub. It's nice to turn it around this week at a track that I absolutely adore, home track and everything. So yeah, it felt great. The car felt great. There were moments where it got a little bit out of hand, but did my best to not make those mistakes too many times to save the tires a little bit. So yeah, it was a good race.
Now, Johnny, Watkins Glen is one of those kind of universally liked racetracks. Doesn't matter if you're a road racer, an oval racer, everybody's pretty comfortable out here. What do you think makes this track so much fun for everybody?
I don't know. The biggest thing for me is that there's a pretty decent balance, especially in the boot. Running the boot layout here is that there's a good balance between slow and fast corners. So you get people that are really good at maintaining momentum, like out of turn one up through the S's, and then maybe slowing down for the bus stop. But then there are other people but then maybe aren't as good in the slow speed stuff, and then the vice versa. So I feel that this track is pretty good for people who enjoy that mixture. And I think it's popular for that reason. But it's also not it's not a terribly technical track in the slow sections, so you can do a lot of learning about whichever car you're driving. And I haven't driven the Riley DP here recently, but I drove the P2, the new P2, to 6 hours, and a lot of what I learned in that car transferred over into this. So it's a very static track in that sense, but it's a fun place with a little bit for everybody.
Well, great job out there as well, man. I think you've locked up the points championship for the Daytona prototypes. Are you still planning on running the season finale? Or are you going to go hit the beach with your coconut full of rum drinks out there next week?
Well, I might do that after the finale. I absolutely plan on being there. Homestead is a fantastic track. I love that road course layout. I've done some V8 races there, and I think I also did a GT4 race there for in another league, and it's just a fun layout, and I think it would be a blast in this car. So hopefully, as long as hopefully I'll be able to make it. I should be able to, but if I'm there, if I'm able to, I'll be there absolutely. I don't plan on not showing up. It's a fun little track, and I love running these cars. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, Johnny, always a great time talking to you, man. Congratulations again, and hope to see you do well next week. Always a great time, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And that, my friends, is going to do it for round 11 of the Legacy Sports Car Series, where we saw a couple of new faces bring home some wins today, and overall a fantastic race. One of the cleanest and I want to say best performances we've had so far this season. So well done to all of the guys for putting on such a great show here today. Daniel Beauchamp wins the overall with Nick Terrell, Alex Penn taking second and third. Jason Connolly winning his class, Johnny Eckert winning his class, and then Gareth Mcallister also winning his class. So great run all the way around. As always, on behalf of the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction, I'm James East in the booth, broadcasting on behalf of TeamGoonsquad.com. We'll see you next week for the season finale, and we wish you all a happy and safe weekend. Have a great night, everyone.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only
Shake that, why this ain't no motherfucker? Get crunk with it, get loose with it. I show said